Hey guys, this is Vic from Grasping the Market and welcome to our market briefing. Today we had little change on the, well, actually no change on the larger time frame as we had an inside session, which means that the market is attempting to find balance up here, and notice that it's just below the 3000 area. As we mentioned yesterday, the profile from Tuesday had a P-shaped profile. I mean, the profile was P-shaped, which is indicative of some short covering. Now, what is concerning when there is short covering is that normally that weakens the market, and the market tends to resume the previous direction before the covering. But what we saw today is that the market, although it was under pressure for most of the session, it held the level. I mean, it refused to go down. As you can see here on the continuous chart, the continuous 30-minute, this level over here at 84.75 held the ground the whole overnight and the day session. You can see now, despite a quick extension lower to the level, then you had a strong rejection from the settlement area from Tuesday. Another attempt in regular trading hours, matched to the tick, bounced back. Another rejection from the settlement, couldn't reach. So there are two possibilities here, and it's very difficult at the moment to call which one it is. I'm going to move to the market profile. And you can see pretty much the same here. You see, it is possible that the market, and this is an indication of it, that the market could have gotten a little bit too short here, because you see failure to go through this level and close the double distribution. After a strong rejection like this one, if you attend lower, you should be able to go through, but it didn't. It didn't, and it went through, and it made a higher high, and then attempted again. And this time it spent 1.5 hours just above the previous day low. That tells me that it is there's a very high probability that the market is a little bit short there. So then you have a little bit of a covering move, the K, but sellers step in and they sell it, and it attempts again, and this time they cannot go for a short. It is possible that the market was a little bit too short, and that you had at the end was a covering of positions, adjusting of positions, and that created, because if a lot of people is short and they need to close, they need to buy, right? So when they buy, that lifted the market a little bit, and that's why you saw this kind of MN bounce at the close. Now, the key question remains, are we now out of that short momentum move, and are we going to attempt going back to the 3000 area? It's very difficult to say, as I just and the other reason I kept this overnight profile here is that you can see how the high and the low match to the tick the overnight high and low. So it's a very mechanical market, very mechanically traded references. So it is difficult. What I would say is, if you start getting to the downside with momentum, this level is particularly weak, because you have this low matching the overnight low and a triple low here on the HIJ period. There could be an accumulation of short stops below this level, and that could create what is called like a firecracker effect. If you trigger those stops, it can go all the way very sharply. So the focus for tomorrow, definitely, I mean, you have this inside session. Let me get rid of the overnight. If you have this inside session today, and that's a form of balance, with the market being in short-term balance, the focus now becomes this 2-day balancing range. But clearly, a key reference is today's low, because that's the one that held overnight and the regular trading hour. So if you start getting below 84.75, actually close to 84.75, the chances are that at least you will probe below. If you get acceptance below this, that brings into play Tuesday's low and potentially the gap. For the upside to be strong, I think that you want to avoid at all costs to get close to this 84.75 level. So actually, if you approach that 74 level, that's the lowest risk area for a long position. Particularly speaking, I would prefer to see what happens, because that reference is very weak. It's not a very reliable reference, but anything can happen. So focus for tomorrow definitely on development value, and we need to pay attention to this afternoon high, which is where the latest selling came from. So 83 and 93. If you get acceptance above 93, that is positive and brings into play the high of today and potentially the 3000 area. But remember, anything can happen. Continue political tensions with the Turkey and Syria issue, and also we need to get more details about the Chinese from the trade talk. So anything can happen. Let's just focus. It seems like being so narrow, the market today and inside day, it seems like, just like we're saying, the market is awaiting for more information because making a powerful move.